Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Funky Marketing Show. This is the show when I'm talking with people that are doing great stuff for their companies or for themselves and bringing something new into marketing, something that we called funk. And today I have a pleasure to be joined by my good friend Zeljko Riha, and we're going to talk about lots of stuff, relationship between B2C, B2B, and something interesting, which is what can you do when generating sales lead is not an option. So let's first go to that funky intro, and then we will bring Zeljko with us. Whew, that always got me into the dancing moves. Zeljko, my man, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hi Nemanja. Yeah, your intro is one of the best I've seen in podcasts. So yeah,
Yeah, it's actually we had that kind of styling for the visuals, and then the video editor saw a template, and
nice.
okay, that's it, let's move it. And what was interesting, then we saw the template for the website, and now the website is similar, so
Yeah,
it goes well with one with each other.
yeah.
So tell me and the guys a little bit about your background, just so we have a context why we are both of us are talking about this topic.
Yeah, well, first, thanks for having me. It's great. It's honor to be here because your podcast is one of the best. I'm listening and you have
And I
great
think
guests.
you are the first guest from Croatia, so
Wow, nice, nice. That's a privilege. So yeah, hello everyone. I'm in marketing for almost now 15 years, but it's difficult, to acknowledge that because you are acknowledging that you are getting old. Basically, I started as a PR person. I started as a marketing and PR, but I was always in communications. And then I was just, always on the line between marketing and communications, PR, and media. And lately, for I don't know 4 or 5 years, I was working mainly in the UK market, software services companies, focused on business to business, and now lately also business to developers. So yeah, digital is in my blood, I would say. Well, we were all in the region one of the first, users of Twitter, first users of Facebook and everything. So basically, yeah, we are early adopters of everything digital.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know that you are doing some good stuff on Twitter, so we're gonna mention
yeah,
that as
thanks.
well. I don't think lots of people that have been on the show are doing anything similar. Most of the people are working on LinkedIn. Eventually, like Reddit pops up as the
Yeah,
place for all those stuff. But Twitter is, besides LinkedIn, one of the platforms that lots of decision makers are spending time, and it's strange that not many people from this Balkan region are active on Twitter in that way. They are active to comment
yeah.
politics or sports, as I am, but when it comes to business, not many of them.
Yeah, it's but when you step in other markets, like US or UK, then you can easily reach out to decision makers and using Twitter, and everybody is doing it in much more different way that here in regions. So yeah, it's, and I would say it's more cleaner, no BS like in LinkedIn. On LinkedIn now, I really don't like LinkedIn anymore because it become like a vanity show, and on Twitter there are like people honest, more honest for me. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's my
agree,
point.
and I tell myself every day that I need to stop talking about basketball, about NBA, about those stuff. Need to stop talking in Serbian and go all in on English, just trade business.
Yeah,
But you need one platform where you can, just express yourself. And people commenting basketball and Partizan are on Twitter. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, you need to sacrifice a platform sometimes.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So tell me, there is a topic that both you and I go back and forth and agree on, and basically I built, I think, my whole business on it, and it is like bringing B2C mindset and strategies and tactics into the B2B, and now like the difference between two is slowly disappearing. So tell me, how are you seeing the
Yeah,
things?
yeah. I'm seeing when I first encountered business to business as a marketing, thing, and it was like 2010, 11. So yeah, 10 years ago. You know how it was. There was a strict line that all marketeers were putting in us. So it's a strict line between business to business and business to consumers. Why? Well, I didn't know that. Back then it was, if you want to target companies, you have to use B2B channels. You are talking to the company, but everything switched uh, to B2C tactics when social media came. And I would say that the one example that I think that can explain what happened is that when iPhone killed BlackBerry, this
Mm-hmm.
is this is the example when all marketeers has an old approach, B2B approach, and it was that was really enlightening for me, because I was seeing that you had one company that had phenomenal device which was focused for business users because they wanted to be connected. Email was there, and that's it. But they have a perception that those customers don't like multimedia, then they don't like camera on the phone and things like that. But then Apple said, well, no, because those people have a life. And that's why when you approach business to business, it's not you're talking to business, you're talking to people who are working in that companies from 9 to 5, 9 to 6, who knows what. But during the weekends, there are people like you and me. And they have some, you love basketball. I'm in MMA. I like mountain biking. Some of guys, like hiking. So those people are with all the interests. And that's why, iPhone definitely killed BlackBerry as a strictly B2B device. That happened in marketing also.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's a good comparison. I didn't think about that.
yeah, yeah, because the BlackBerry, the theory in BlackBerry, and I was from 2008. I was carefully watching the mobile industry because I had clients from mobile industry, and one thing was, I was thinking, yeah, BlackBerry has a very attitude like, no, business customers need keyboard, hardware keyboard. They only need mail, and that's it. And iPhone tell, you don't need to keyboard. It's very nice to write, but also you have to have your music on the phone. You can take your photos, videos, and stuff like that. And people said, well, if I can have my business email on device which I can use during weekends, to shoot some photos, videos, and listen music by running, and everything works great. Then I don't want to have two devices or something like that. And that was the tipping point when BlackBerry went down, and now they're nowhere. This is the thing that happened also in marketing. The companies that are having philosophy that they all need, no, we are business to business, so we need to have white papers, we need to go to industry related media, we always need to go to industry related conferences, we have to be business. They're not showing results as they should, maybe 20, 30 years ago. This is the thing that changed.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just one way from B2C to B2B. What you reminded me now of the fact, like I was talking with a friend of mine that she's working in a car industry, so
Mhm.
selling cars, and she called me one day and says, like we are selling to people, but now we have this Dacia that
Yeah,
is made strictly for the business owners because we're giving them credits and all kind of stuff, and I want to do LinkedIn ads to target specifically entrepreneurs and businesses. because that's the whole story about the car. And I was like, so it's going in both directions.
Yeah, it does. I also had experience with car companies and car industry. I had big debates, in even when Facebook became popular in the region, in Croatia, Serbia, and one company was selling, I think it was Volvo back then. They're selling like a business-oriented car, and they had a strictly media plan focused only on on the business media. So only in the business media they would buy ads. And I was saying, and yeah, results were nowhere to find. And I was asking, but why are you trying to sell a car to a person who gets this magazine for free in his own company, and very likely he has a company car, so he doesn't want to buy another company car. So this kind of ad is totally wrong. The tactic is wrong. So the approach was also different. Now, now car companies are trying, to approach different targets, and what I found was also that they are not thinking about, customers, particular customers, and because the first point is to think about the potential customer who is, like old school marketing persona, and from there you can pick, tactics, and you can try to find that person who is that doing, that's why maybe for you, for example, if I have a research, and a lot of entrepreneurs, and business owners and people like that are watching basketball, for instance, and I know that, I want to sell you a good software for something that is business like, I don't know, Airtable, Monday, who knows what, Slack. Why not explore advertising at the basketball match? Because we are already there, and a lot of people are there. They're not still, exploring things like that. But there you can penetrate to the mind of the person.
Yeah, you gotta get out of the of the things that companies have been doing before,
Yeah.
because most of the things that has been done specifically in B2B, it wasn't boring, but it was like foggy, mystic,
Yes.
no humanity, no those kind of stuff. And then it was just I'm still finding out that some companies are considered their ICPs as companies, a building, not the specific person that works on a specific position, has jobs to be done, and is also somebody who has different interests outside of the business.
Yeah. And maybe you can, well, have you, do you have a feeling that marketing is becoming more and more sales for them?
uh,
Do you feel that pressure?
no, like I think now the change is happening a little bit, going into the right direction, but what is still the most common thing is, and what most companies are doing, especially agencies, is doing just digital sales.
Yeah.
That's not marketing.
Yeah, and because I found in even working with software companies is that they easily misunderstand what is sales and what is marketing, and then they're pursuing marketing to give sales as a sales, and they are not thinking strategically on marketing, because marketing is much more than just generating leads. Because
Hmm.
and even working with software companies, and when the founders and developers are there, and more technical people, they're always hook up, and I'm the only guy always in the meeting that I'm just saying, hey, those clicks and impressions are real people. Those clicks are not some kind of clicks, just a number. They are real people. You need to find out why they clicked it. Who are those people? They always, the digital thing detached us from only looking at the metrics, but forgetting that those metrics are people. And this is what's happening. They're just seeing those metrics. They want to drive sales, but they're not thinking how the brand is impacting in the minds of those people. And it's different. It's different perceptions for everybody. Now we have a perception about Apple, about Tesla, but all those things are building strategically
Yeah.
10 years ago. It's not built tomorrow. It
I,
cannot be built that fast.
I just had a conversation in one of the previous episodes with Justin Rowe, who is
Yeah.
like leading the agency that is doing probably majority of ads on LinkedIn. And the thing he said is, you know, uh, you he starts with just informing people with articles.
Yeah.
Just that he wants them just to come to the website. That's it. When they come to the website, they either read the article or do some other stuff. But then he goes wide in retargeting, and he basically gives them testimonials, case studies, solving problems, answering the most common questions, everything at the same time. So basically, they are being educated,
Yes.
nurtured, and taking to the end at the same time. It's not happening like, and that's also one thing I think people misunderstand. Like when we say funnel and layers, those things are happening at the same time.
Yeah.
People are consuming content at the same time for different stages in the buyer's journey. And what I also find out is when we focus just on leads, it's just focusing on getting the information
Yeah.
contact.
Yeah.
But if we focus, for example, like the metric that we are following is, I don't know, like scheduled calls. That can be one. It means that they need to click through the ad, go to the website, do something, go to the contact us page, then convert. And if you do that, then the LinkedIn algorithm, Google algorithm, Twitter, whatever it is, can see the whole journey. That's I think that's something that we often forget, that we need to give them also material to know what we want to get out of this person.
Yes, yes, and also we forget that, and marketing, here is the close thing between marketing and sales. It's art of seduction. You cannot
Mhm.
sell and you cannot push everything in the right moment. All how those sites are. For example, for me, the rule is that you can have a maximum of two. I would say preferably one call to action on the one on the one landing page, and some companies have like 10. Subscribe to the newsletter, contact me, buy, sign up. You cannot do that. It's like the first person that came to your website is like basically you're on the first date. You cannot have everything on the first date. You have to establish some kind of a connection, that person can need to have some confidence in you, reading articles, educate about themselves, and then put them to think about it. They will return. You know how it is. You started from yourself. I always bookmarked and returned to the companies and pages that I value for. They were okay. If they're not, I will not return. So those are the things that they are not thinking about.
You reminded me of the example that I use for this weekend, like doing a small workshop for a couple of companies, including banks. And I was like, I compare that relationship thing to a Tinder date.
Yeah.
Because you get out with somebody, you don't know what you're gonna get. You get drunk, for example, wake up in bed tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
and then you see what you ended up with.
Yeah.
And it's the same with ebook. If it's like one pager with just 5 things that you can Google, or it's 30 pages strategy, and what you get will determine your relationship with that company or with that
Yeah.
girl, if you're talking about
Yeah. Yeah.
relationships.
Yeah. Yeah, because it is a relationship. It has to be based on trust and everything. Why are we, you should definitely put some, sponsors here. But, why are we trusting Apple products? Why? Because they have a great customer care. And I know when everyone, if I'm having a problem with the product and I'm in different country, I know that they will back me up. This is the trust that I want with the company paying. This is for another company, for another producer. I want to be in the game, so I want to have a high performance notebook that will work. So all those things are building relationship between me as a customer and the company. And that's why people are always loyal to one brand. The loyalty is something that came with a lot of work, and a lot of marketing and a lot of things. You cannot, if you fucked it up one, that's it. You are losing a person. And in some industries, there are no second chances. You can blow it very easily and very quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's something I think about a lot.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Especially when you create a strategy, something like that, and you get the feedback from the client. Nah, that's not we want. But it's like, but your website was just launched yesterday, and like, what exactly is on your mind when you say that you don't want that? So that's a completely different thing, because that's the thing when you cannot go and lose it all. For
Yeah.
example, like just one thing, and it's not related even to the market. So like you go out, you push the website and everything, and you forget to remove the no follow thing,
Mm.
and you go and you write articles, you build things, but no, like not many people are coming to your website, and you don't ever think about, should I Google just cite two dots the website so I can see whatever it is on Google? Like it's nothing. And then like, huh,
Yeah, small things. Yeah, small things. But
yeah,
uh, yeah, also I wanted to share with you. No, I lost it. It's this thing you said about the clients that they're not happy with it. I encountered a lot of things in our profession in marketing in general, is that people are judging everything on themselves, on their opinion. So maybe you encountered a lot of it, the CEOs or founders of the companies, that they see an ad and they say, I wouldn't never click on it, I wouldn't never, they're going from themselves, and that's the big mistake that you can have,
hmm,
because the and also I'm often asked by here in Croatia in media to comment some campaign because it is a controversial campaign, something like that. Then I would say I cannot comment because I don't know the background of the campaign. I don't know their brief. I don't know their goals. I don't know their budget. Maybe this is the great ad for the target audience they wanted to add. It's not for me, and I cannot comment. Is it not? Is it nice? Do I like it or not? It's not on me. And people are always trying to go by themselves. I don't like it. Well, you don't like it, but maybe your customers like it. So let's do this.
yeah, that's exactly the reason why I left all the ex-Yugoslavian marketing group.
Yeah,
uh, just because so many people that I considered as somebody that has knowledge are commenting on this stuff, and I'm like, why? I mean,
yeah,
are you working with them? Do you know things that we all of us don't? Especially like in the last couple of months, there were a couple of big affairs, especially
yeah,
PR and social media. Now you cannot post anything on social media, which is a little bit different from what you
yeah,
have been doing before, so that somebody don't attack you. and,
yeah,
and look, those people don't know what it is, but if it's related to the, I don't know, LGBT rights, women rights, those kind of stuff, it doesn't matter,
yeah.
you
And
know.
you know what I hate, and I really hate, and this is something that I really hate this. And I was like having this kind of online discussion, and I'm trying to, don't go in there, but you know how it is.
Chill.
Yeah, but when a person say, every PR is a good PR, and I lose my mind. I said,
Yeah,
this is something that I only encounter here in our region.
same with marketing.
Yeah,
That's,
every marketing is, but you don't need, you don't think about the context. You don't think about anything, because people are always thinking about the reach. So if a company X has a campaign and put it out, and it's a controversial campaign, and media picks it up because it's really bad campaign, it's like, you're seeing the ads and you see what the hell was in their minds, and people start talking, you will always have some people say, yeah, that's a good campaign because you see everybody is talking about it. But in one context, it's not always the good talk. And I always have to have some kind of brutal comment. I said, well, what about you are not present in media? Okay, and now from tomorrow morning you will be present in media in the context that you are the largest pedophile in the region. Would you like it? You would say, yeah, everybody is talking about, but in what context?
yeah,
No, and that's something that I try to enlighten people. It's not every context is good context, and this you say, and they will say, yeah, every marketing is a good marketing. No, it's not. Because if it is commenting on negative context, that it's not okay. Then company has a reputational problems, and things like that.
yeah. And also that one thing that we always forget, I think, especially marketers, it's important who are we working with. Do we have trust in the product or the
Yeah,
service? Because if we are good in what we do in marketing, we will only expose bad products and bad services
yeah.
and everything else, because it will just crash because our marketing is good.
Yes, yes, and that can be a problem. As I worked with early stage startups, there is always a, when they're always releasing something from, beta to, release to the full product, or from MVP phase or something like that. They're always like, is this good enough now for actual customers? Because if your product is good enough for someone to pay, then be sure then you don't fuck up. Because if you fuck up, they will go somewhere else. That's it. You don't have any second chances. In the startup world, which I work a lot and mentor a lot of startups, there's no second chances, and it's really difficult for them, and sometimes you can find a really brilliant engineers, brilliant people who are developing for years something and afraid to release because of that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a sweet spot when you have a good enough product to release it. And also I wanna what I found out is in marketing campaigns, as in the startups you have minimal viable products, you can also have minimal viable marketing campaigns. So at
Mm-hmm.
least effort that you can use, but it can drive something that is important to you. And
Yeah.
you should always test it and iterate it and test it, and just roll it out.
And it especially goes to the small teams, to the
Yes,
startups, that you don't have, like, maybe you have competitors that are all over the place with the articles covering every
everything.
stage and
Yeah,
whatever. But what you can do is just publish one article per month. So that one article needs to be better than whatever everybody else are putting out for that specific keyword,
yeah,
for example.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, lately I'm working. I encountered, everything is something new in marketing. I thought that I knew everything, but you don't know everything. So I encountered with the developer marketing. So it's a niche where the audience, well, the customer is extremely intelligent people who don't like marketing. So
Yeah.
extreme. So I don't
And
know.
not only marketing, I mean, the way they are, the demand for them is right now, it makes
Yeah,
them go away and hide.
yeah, yeah, and they are like stars, and they should be stars. I don't have a problem with that, but it's funny to see them, even young engineers, when they say, yeah, I'm not, I don't like marketing, I'm not target marketing. Then I'm looking him, and he has a hoodie from the company, he like merch, okay. He has why do you have these sneakers, why do you bought this notebook, why do you have this phone? Well, you are a target of marketing. You just don't like to admit it, but you are marketing. So yeah, it's interesting, interesting thing, because for the first time, yeah, they don't like typical marketing. So developer marketing is you have attachment to developer marketing, and that is called developer relations. So I now
Hmm.
work with developer relations engineers, which are tech savvy devs, but who are evangelists. I would say, we had evangelists before. Now it's called developer relations, but you have those people who, and this is a great asset in those companies, because those people are your targeted audience, and you have them every day available. And everything that now we do for the marketing purpose, from the ad to the copy on the Twitter to the blog post, we test them with that. Would you read it? Would you like it? Would you share it? Is it okay with you? Is it? If it is, then we are on the right track. And I think that this is a great asset that, so now I'm started to think that other companies should have something like that, because other companies, if they're not doing researches and focus groups, they don't know who are the customers, and they don't know, they're just dazzling around the market, and they try to find the right customers. And now developer companies focused on developers have developers, have the customer audience in their own, in their own office, which is amazing. But developer marketing, I would say, it's much more, it's really difficult. It's really difficult, and it's difficult when you are not selling. You have an open source project. So you know how it is. It's easier to sell something for $1, €1, £1 than to push someone to do something for free.
Mm-hmm.
Because if something is free, then it's no value for me. That's in our mindset. Why it's free? If it is good, why it's free? It's really it's really difficult to penetrate these minds. And well, devs are okay, because if you can tell them it's free because it's open source and we are getting the community, then you have their attention. But though the metrics are much different, so they are not, they are not marketing qualified leads, they are not sales qualified leads. You don't care about any kind of revenue because you are not generating anything. But then you have a metric that I encountered just a few months ago, and that is building a community. But not community, not building community on Facebook, Facebook fans, Twitter. No, building a community on Discord server, because on Discord servers there are a lot of developers and they like to discuss projects and things like that, and it's really difficult to ask people to join. So it's the whole different perspective, I would say.
Yeah, I think like
What's your experience
I
with
mean
developers?
the same. They are all into the small communities that sometimes not even Discord. Nah, all depends. Like people from gaming companies,
Yeah,
like I found them use Discord a lot more than maybe developers,
yeah,
but also like Reddit as well, Twitter, because like developers, we consider them as guys who like to put on the headphones, go into some corner and just do their job.
yeah,
But as I was working with Edge Tech, Edge Tech Group, like the developers told me I was working with them on increasing their LinkedIn presence and everything, and developers were a part of it. So like sales marketing team didn't care, like we know that stuff, but developers feel this is the way that we can improve our personal branding and everything. So they was like, okay, yeah, we need to first tell you that we are funny people, we
yeah.
like to make jokes, we like board games, there are all kind of different stuff. So what I like to do about developers is find those niches which are connected to their interest,
Yeah.
and even it's gaming, it's board games, it's I don't know, lots of different stuff, but that's where they go.
And also there are good conversation starters with them. You don't talk about
Hmm.
with the company that I'm working now, it's Mangrove. They are like graph algorithms on streaming data. It's really, I had to, as a marketeer, I had to spend 6 months even just to comprehend what they're doing. And there was a lot of their the customers are like, not customers, users are data scientists and graph enthusiasts and people like that. So we started to have a graph data meetups in Zagreb, which is great, and now I want to extend it to other countries and other cities. And what I found out is that conversation starters, and there is also developer relations team always there, connecting with other people. And the conversation starters, as you said, are board games, are things that they're doing in their spare time. And then they open up and talk about the projects and problems they encountered and how they solve it. And what is most important doing marketing in those kind of companies is that the marketing is like artillery.
Hmm.
The front people of those companies are developers, because you have to have the company to have a tone of their voice as a developer, not as a marketeer, or God forbid, not as a salesperson. So the whole switch. So marketing is here just to support them. Just to support, just to produce content, organize merchandise, test messages. If they're talking somewhere in some different kind of a city, okay, we will find target audience, we will inform everybody that you are there. That's great. And I show that Twitter ads are great, Reddit ads are great also, because for instance with Reddit ads I can definitely target the subreddits which are important for me. That's awesome. But everything else, we are not on the field, we are not, exposing ourselves, we are just in, as a backup, but developers are talking with the developers. And this is something that, for instance, one problem that you can account for every other company that have social media profiles. So you have a company that have a LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook profile, and maybe, I don't know, Instagram. Okay, fine. Then you can find some experienced community manager, and they say, yeah, you can now handle our, social media profiles and things like that. In developer company, you cannot do that, because that community manager don't know how to talk with the dev person, and the dev person has some kind of exact question about something, you don't know how to answer it. So we just pull back, and we just put, we push devs in the front of Twitter, in front of Facebook, in front of Tinder, Instagram, everything. And this is something that, I think it can be applied to other industries. For example, let's just imagine that you are running, your client is a car manufacturer, and that car manufacturer has B2C, typical. You are having, you try to sell cars to a lot of people. Great. But what if you switch a person who will communicate on social networks, for that car company, from a social media manager, community manager, who knows what, with a basically car mechanic who has 10 years of experience working with that car company. And he can, and then he can have a different tone of voice. He can give great advices, and he can be genuine for that company. You can say, well, I will try it. This is the thing that I think Tesla did remarkable, because they, how controversial they went, and they say we don't need PR. They fired the PR department. They don't have marketing. But why? Because their customers become their, salespeople and marketing people. Their customers, the Tesla owners, which is great. So you have a person who has a great experience with that car, who is, talking about it. I think that it is useful in other companies. For instance, I never smoked in my life, and in one time in my career, the one tobacco company approached me for some position, and I said, well, I cannot work for you, not because I think smoking is bad, but also,
Yeah.
I never used that product, so I don't know anything about it. It's very difficult, to it's better to find those people who are in that field, and sometimes those people don't have to have, marketing background at all to be genuine. For some industries that is great, and I can switch now, from business to developers. The company before that, when I was advising them, and then become a head of marketing and communications there, it was a typical software service company, focused on construction industry. So the users were architects and construction engineers, and typical model, you pay per user, you have some plans, small, medium enterprise, typical everything. But then I also found out that, marketing as a marketing doesn't penetrate this kind of industry, because if you are talking about construction industry, and this was mainly in the UK, they're a conservative industry. They don't like new people, they don't like new ideas, they don't like new tools. No, the shovel didn't change for centuries. So selling something to them, that is software, and maybe it will help them boost their own work productivity, and it was difficult. But then I saw a great asset in the company, and the great asset was the founder, the CEO. The founder and the CEO of the company was a construction engineer who has 20 years of construction engineer experience. So I switched, and I said, the perspective of the company, they're not devs trying to sell you software. No, there's a construction engineer who found out what is the problem in the industry, found some people to build the product, the application, and solved it, and now he's talking with you. So all this communication we try to put on the CEO and the founder, who was construction engineer, and that was a great it has a great effect, because other competitors were, typical software companies. None of them had construction engineers. So we built a trust, because the construction engineers built a software for construction engineers. That was the main message. So it was really, nice to also to see this kind of industry which is conservative. And I think financial industry and That's why fintech is really strong, because financial industry is also conservative. If you try to sell them something, they'll say, well, who are you? How long you are in the financial industry.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Yeah,
Been there, done that.
yeah,
And it's interesting in those kind of situations, like using the founder's brand, the founder's story.
yeah,
It's so powerful. One of them, I mean, in general, it's one of the most powerful channels that you can use for your business.
yeah,
And it's still
yes,
strange that even now, 2022, so little founders are actually getting into that. If we are looking at the Balkans,
yeah,
for example, like compared to the US, how many of them are sharing their journey on Twitter, for example?
yeah.
None.
Yeah, and you get it right, because it's a really, you can gamble with that, because you cannot, for instance, you cannot base the whole company on one person. Look what happened with Apple after Steve Jobs, and Elon
Hmm.
Elon Musk is also, gambling, because I cannot imagine how would Tesla look like with another CEO.
No,
you know
there's no company basically.
yeah, so in the early stage startups, so when they are, seed, pre-seed, series A, so there you can leverage everything on the founders, on the CEO, because he's the person who have the energy and who brought everything up. But as soon as the company is, coming to the break even and can be larger and larger, then the CEO has to go in back, and you have to push the brand, because the brand will hopefully be, much more older, and even, longer than the CEO, and be like, the companies that we grew up, we don't know who was the, who is the CEO of Coca-Cola. I don't know, but we are still drinking it. It's
Yeah.
still the
It's
strong brand.
basically the thing, as the brand appears and it matures, like the story of the company becomes the story of the customers. So
Yes.
the customers are telling the story. I mean, if we say right now, then how Google started, basically the advertising was expensive as hell at that
Yeah.
time. And they figure out, okay, like startups needs to do advertising, we need to have a product for them which will enable them to do advertising in a cheaper way, affordable. So that was the starting point.
Yeah.
And now if you talk about Google, like who knows that story? Or like Netflix, for example, like the guy had other business which is also subscription based business, and he just tried it, bought a company, tried it out for the theaters, and it worked. And
Yeah.
now we are coming, like Netflix is doing something great, changing the industry, because like
Yeah, it changed.
people are
Yeah.
telling the story further.
Yeah, yeah. This is, that's why I think that the most important thing, working from my experience working with founders, is that, in some point you have to hold their egos, because ego can then go, forward than,
Hmm.
than the brand, and then you can have a confusion, and the problem. But if the ego is contained and everything is going, then they know how to, to push the brand in front of them. So first thing, yeah, basically it would be a nice, like an image or something like that. So in the first, years, the CEO is pulling the brand, and then he's pushing the brand, and brand is technically pulling the CEO in the later years. So that's why you have strong brands now who build like that.
Yeah,
And
because actually we are what we are talking, it's just outside, but from inside, how you add people to your team, they bring in different stuff. So the
yeah,
culture changes. I mean, it's important that they have the same values, but like the culture changes as every person comes to the company, they bring some diversity. If you bring the same people as you are, then
yeah,
it's not evolving. And then it is a situation where it stays like the CEO is one and only is the god in the company, and that's a bad way to go.
yeah, because the company and the product is a live organism, and it is changing, and it has to
Hmm.
change. And if it is changing, for example, if it is changing, like the market changes, or potential customers are changing, then it will show great results. And if the market is changing, but the product is not changing, then you have a problem. Now, for example, here I have the great I have a great example of one of my favorite pizza places here in Zagreb. They didn't offer any kind of delivery service because, and I agree with them, because their whole philosophy were, you cannot have the experience of that pizza if it came at home. But guess what happened when Corona hits? They adapted, they
Mhm.
survived. You can now order that pizza. Well, they said, well, we have to have some compromises and survive. So this is like you can see evolving of the product and evolving of the brand.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you've been doing with Twitter, with Reddit, with those places. We talked a little bit here about Reddit, but I'm curious to know what you have been doing because you are going after a specific target group and its developers.
Yeah. So and also I can open this because I was last week I was listening some education. I was on education about hacker news. It was a new thing for me. And first I approached to hacker news like any marketeer. I was really I would say that I had a big ego there, and I said, okay, where can I buy ads on hacker news? And there's well, you cannot buy ads on hacker news. It's impossible. But if you are on the front page of hacker news, then you did everything. It's great.
Yeah.
So some things are organically. Also, Reddit is for the brand. So you can have your own people, engineers, developers who are actively in the communities. But the communities, for example, I have some the community is called Data Science is Cool or something like that. It is the largest community regarding data science and things like that. And they don't, the mods are really tough people, so they don't allow you any kind of share of the company blog or anything like that. I even reach out to them. I said, can you please just support us, we launch something? No. But then I found out that basically I can target these subreddits with Reddit ads, and the advertising principle is really simple. So you open a Reddit profile for your company, put the brand, everything, but you're not active in some Reddits at the company, but that company profile can advertise the post. So you basically make a post but becomes an ad, and it's
Mhm.
really, but what is the what I found out now from my experience, and I'm still running some experiments to see what is going on and what is not, is that you have to copy the communication that is similar to that subreddit. So the ad basically is like a organic
It's
post.
that it fits natural in the feed.
Yes, natural in the feed. If it fits natural in the feed, then it's go. And you can push also video ads. I don't have experience still with video ads on Reddit, but for instance, we had last month we had a big conference that we were attending, and my so objective was very simple. So I wanted everyone who is using Apache Kafka and living in London to know that the mangrove is on a Kafka summit in London. That's it. So we had a landing page. You could see the faces of several people. You could download the brochure, and that's it. But I wanted to know, to inform you that you are, that we are there. So, and it was a great campaign with like nothing, for the money. So you can pay dollar per click or something like that. It's really cheap, but really targeted. So every Kafka subreddit community and every person in that subreddit who is in London interested in Kafka, I cannot go narrower than that, knew that we are on the conference. So my experience at Reddit is really good, and supporting that with Twitter, also with Twitter ads. So, but basically, Twitter ads are like organic. You put also like organic tweets with good hashtags, and just push them to the audience that you want
Yeah.
in geolocation. And it's really relatively cheap. And with all that, if you support with YouTube advertising, everywhere YouTube advertising is really cheap. If you want to find out about your, funky marketing in London, you can have like for a, for a, I don't know, cheap. I don't know. You can have 10,000 views for 100 pounds. It's really cheap, and you can also narrow the audience. And with all those digital stuff, I can also share with you how I found out that I was wrong. So we were running that construction engineering company. So it was a mobile app. It was a mobile software for iOS, mainly on tablets and on iPhones. But I was focusing with Apple search ads on tablets, on iPads, because you have to load the whole, the whole blueprint and everything. So it was easier to work on iPad. And I target the audience, and we were running ads. And I also run on Google, on the Google ads. I run the placement on Apple devices, mainly on iPad. But what happened is that I saw a lot of a peak of impressions and clicks, and I was saying, well, they're not that crazy about the app. But you know what happened? People have an iPad at their home. People are the majority that I target are family people who gave the iPad to their kids. So I saw that all the clicks came from the games. So I have to, and they will think about and say, let's exclude all games. And we were just thinking, imagine that's marketing thinking. So we were just thinking, I'm looking at the mobile games from which the clicks came, and I was thinking, which game would I play? Which game would the construction engineer play? Because basically, we will share here it and with everybody who is listening. But we play games on the toilet, because we are bored. So I
Yeah,
said,
take it easy. Like Tesla said in his latest TED Talk
yeah,
conversation, actually, that most of his tweets are made where he's on the sitting on the toilet chair. So
yeah. So I was thinking, uh, a toddler, a 3-year-old or 4-year-old or 5-year-old will not play chess. This is a construction engineer. This is this is a person, woman or man, who is playing a chess or playing, Sudoku. But if you're playing a bubbly rabbit jumping something, that's his kid. So we try to narrow it down. So yeah, with digital marketing, you can easily, miss the whole point if you're not thinking about that persona. And the same thing is on Reddit, and the same thing is also on Twitter. We also went in different direction with Twitter ad, with something conversation that were not relevant to us, have a lot of clicks, but nothing happened. Nothing happened. So this is also, but when you are narrowing down, then you are basically becoming a sniper. You're not fishing with a large net, but with a sniper. And yeah, I wanted to say, when you talked about, when you say that you need to give person a lot of education and materials and everything like that before you start selling something or converting in some kind of way, it's a similar like fishing. And that reminds me, when you talk, it's similar when you come to the river or a pond or something like that, you try to fish, you first feed the fishes so they come, and then you drop the if you just drop and try to fish, you will not fish. Well, maybe you will be successful, but not successful as the guy who feeds them and then starts to fish. That's basically the content creation and everything that you are.
yeah, like interestingly, the first sale that I closed, because I was when I was in working in UO agency, I was starting from the scratch and then becoming the first GM. And at one point, I took over the sales as well. So, like at the time, it was working with LinkedIn automation tool. So
Right.
basically, I set up the parameters for the search, and it was a hard tool. So you can only use it by night when you are not using the laptop because it takes over the whole power. And basically, it acts like you visits the profile, stays for 20
Yeah.
seconds, and then moves away so they can see that you have been on their profile. Then they come to visit yours. And
And
if
then
that's a
yeah.
fit, you send them a connection request and a message. But I realized, okay, I get into conversation with those people, but it's only business. So as I was active on Twitter at the time, it was 2016, 17. Like, figure out, okay, I can search for those people and see what they're doing on
Yeah.
different social media. Like, Instagram wasn't a thing back then, so I was going to Twitter,
Twitter. Yeah.
and the guy was talking only about fishing over there, and I knew nothing about fishing, but I said, okay, I need to go and learn some of the things. And basically talking about fishing on Twitter, I reminded him on LinkedIn, and how we get back into
Yeah.
conversation about business, and we closed.
Yeah, and that's why you just gave the great example, how to approach to business market, because it's a person and you just need to find the great talking points. and
Hmm.
and from my experience, there is no person on this planet in which I wouldn't find a talking point. Even, I'm also working political campaigns, I'm in political marketing. I can definitely, sit with the opposite political sides, with people who have diametrically, different opinions on everything, but you can find talking points. You can find
Hmm.
something that you can, open a conversation and talk with them. And I think that, I think that only thing that I would like, to share here, and that's why we are talking here, that, think about the people, the people in those companies, and basically think about the people and then about the companies. This is also the philosophy that can be changed. First, who are the users of my product? Okay, in which industries they are working. This is something that with memgraph came, because we focused on people who are graph enthusiasts and data scientists. And what happened is the developers from Pfizer use, from SpaceX, from NASA, from different sectors. And we just talk about it and say, if we focused on one sector, we would lose the whole market, basically. So we focused on the person. And when we are trying to give them use cases for those particular people, and regarding, and also the content is really important, and I think we didn't talk much about it, but I would just bring one issue that is a problem when you are,
Hmm.
when you are in the disruptive startup, or in the startup that is doing something that people are still finding out about it, that you cannot lean on SEO research, because if you are giving to the market something that they don't know about it, they don't search it. So you have to push the narrative to them. You have to show them. It's much more difficult. It's easier to follow the content marketing strategy if you're trying to sell glasses, because everybody is trying to find glasses and think about glasses. Glasses for wine, glasses for whiskey, who knows what. But if you're trying to push something that nobody saw before, then you cannot lean on keyword researchers and trying to find right audience by that, because their audience doesn't know that they need that. And it's everything, the
And there
common
is
thing.
there is an additional thing. They will be pissed if you don't get them what they want.
Yeah, definitely. There's a old saying that, if you ask Henry Ford were asked if, why a car, and he said, if you ask people back then what they want, they would say they want faster horses, because they didn't know what a
Yeah.
car is. So the startups have this kind of problem. For instance, Tesla had this kind of a problem, and I like the disruptive car company that now, we talked about brands. Now big brands, and how much years, 5 years, after Tesla first models, are jumping in electric car industry. So you see the delay in them.
Hmm.
And who was the fast forward company that bring electric cars? Tesla, the startup who just introduced car,
Yeah.
not the big guys. And if you back then try to Google an electric car, we didn't even know, we could drive electric cars before the first Tesla. So this is the problems that you can encounter if you are putting a content marketing strategy for a startup that is bringing something that doesn't even exist. So that's why you have to focus on who will use that. People who are, who will use Tesla? Well, early tech adopters, people who bought first PlayStation, first TV, first iPhone, who like cars, basically they will buy and try the new technology. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's always a great point, because I mean, knowing your customers, but also learning from other industries and bringing that to yours. I think that's the move forward. I mean, if you look now at I don't know, like TikTok,
Yeah.
you and I aren't the guys that are going to approach it like, "Hey
No.
guys, you know what's happening?" Like those will be some younger folks, and what we need to do is just bring people who have built audience on one of those channels,
Yeah.
and just uh,
Listen to them.
intro.
Yeah.
No, no, no. Yes, but they don't know that they know, because they were just doing their thing.
Yeah.
And we need to show them that they actually know how to build the channel, and then they will use it and build it on different channels with different approach, because
Yeah.
they can understand it way better than we who grew up in one industry.
Yeah. For instance, I'm not a user of TikTok. I have TikTok, but I'm but I have friends who are similar age, like you and I. But he was like the main source of information regarding Ukraine crisis was, for him, was TikTok. For me was Reddit. For someone
Hmm.
else was Twitter. But how can you different? You use
Yeah,
different social media for one purpose, and hacker news is something like that. So I would definitely steer people to read it more, to try to read it more, because really there are non-devs. There are really a lot of non-devs topics there you can approach, and everything is about engagement, karma, and people out there are cynical, very smart, and you
yeah.
cannot sell them BS. You have to have smart, but the community who reacts positive on you is like unimaginable. So
That's great.
yeah.
Yeah, that they're on one of my channels to kind of distribute content. Still didn't go over there because there are lots of more to
Mm.
cover. But because it's difficult, like every platform, like Reddit is super difficult because every subreddit has different
Another.
rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you need to go and be part of it, and then you can go and start promoting, doing your thing, whatever
Yeah. Yeah.
you are doing. Zeljko, thanks a lot. This
Thank
was
you.
this was great. I think like we can go and talk until tomorrow,
Yeah.
so probably we'll do another episode, but tell the people where they can find more information about you, connect with you, and
Zriha.
everything else.
Find me, Zriha. I'm on Twitter. Tweet me, you can find me, and that's it. Or just Google me. That's why for years I don't bring business cards. I don't have business cards. If you
Yeah.
remember my name, I said just Google me. I even have an ad for my name. So yeah, just Google me.
Yeah, what's interesting for me? Yeah, that's a good story for the end. So I didn't think about the personal brand at the from the start. I mean, I did, but in different way. Like everything was under Dilimanat's username,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like on one training under the Erasmus Plus, we were in the groups, and each group had a task to find whatever they can about a couple of people from different groups,
Hmm.
and they couldn't find anything about me. They Googled Nemanja Živković, nothing. So they came to me like,
Who
how
are
can
you?
we find more information about you? So they typed in the emails, and there was a whole new world opening up. But then, I started to give interviews, those kind of stuff, but I didn't buy the domain. So
Oh.
like there was a guy who is some sausage guy or something like that. This was the username on Twitter. I still remember the guy. Like he popped up whenever somebody was googling Nemanja Živković, and also like then the guy who is photographer created a website nemanjaživković.com, I think, and it's a photographer. Then came the football player Nemanja Živković, and then I'm
Yeah.
history. Then I'm
Yeah.
Nemanja Živković LinkedIn. Like
Yeah.
something like that. But it's interesting, and also like one of the things, if now somebody types it Nemanja Živković Delimanats, for example, one of the things they will find is the only article about my dad, who it's the article that's saying like that he passed, like which is kind of scary because like the only his photo on the internet is
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
that article, and but it's interesting that we don't think about that until somebody Googles us and tells us, man, I cannot find anything about you. Or like the only photo that you have over there is your photo in the swimsuit from Instagram. So,
Yeah.
like,
That's why you have to run a campaign on your name and surname.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Interesting
Yeah.
stuff. Okay,
Thanks.
we covered a lot. I think next time we need to go into more details and make it
Yeah,
more technical.
yeah,
Go into that because, like, guys, if you don't know, we can actually talk about those stuff as well. But it's more interesting to cover a lot more field.
yeah. I'm open to
So
share. I'm open to share the experience and the campaigns, and people can see. It's case
yeah,
studies, and yeah,
yeah. What you guys need to do right now is stop and go back to the beginning of the episode and listen to it again, so you can catch up all the gems that Zeljko said. Also, feel free to reach out to him to ask him
yeah,
about the details about Reddit, about Twitter, about all
everything.
different stuff that he mentioned. And for the end, as I always say, like, guys, keep it funky and see you in the next episode.
Yeah. See you.
Bye
Bye.
bye.